Anthony Edwards is going to be special, man. He's really going to be special. What I just saw from him last night, putting up 38, obviously it's an overtime game, but he's the reason that the Timberwolves won that game. He completely took it over despite being in foul trouble. And, he was hot. They subbed him out because he had 5 fouls. He came back in, was still hot. And I think the way that he plays the game is so interesting. It's so unique to him. Just seeing what he did, just seeing the way that he just completely took over that game. I mean, you don't see players do stuff like that. The last time I really saw that happen, like the way that he did, probably goes back to when Kyrie Irving was on the Celtics. There's an overtime game they played against Philly, and Kyrie kind of came down the court and just chucked up a three. And I think, that's just the overtime takeover. That's the last one that I remember. It's obviously not, oh, this is the last time that someone has done something this amazing. Like, no, it's obviously there's been games. I just didn't watch them myself firsthand. And I think just in general, Anthony Edwards is so polished now, and he was pretty polished coming into the drafts period. Like, you looked at him, you're like, yeah, he's still raw though. You saw the athleticism, you saw, the potential, but we didn't know what he was going to become necessarily. We knew he was going to be good, and this is a number one pick in the draft for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, he's not garbage, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is similar to guys like Cade Cunningham, you just don't really know how they are going to play basketball at the pro level. In high school and college, especially when you're those top level players, you can really do whatever you want. But it's interesting to see how guys, when they get to the NBA, actually craft their game and how they want to play. Anthony Edwards is getting to his spots. He's utilizing a ton of the mid range. I've never seen people bank it in. That's kind of why it does kind of remind me of Kyrie, just the way that he moves. He's so fast. He's, he's not really super tall. I think he's like 6'5", but, he's still quick as hell for someone that is that size. He's still big. He obviously played great defense on Tatum and forced the jump ball on that possession. Like, he's not small, but he moves so quickly and he gets to his spot so quickly. And the use of the bank shot is really where I kind of am reminded of that Kyrie Irving style. He just is a pure hooper. That's how Anthony Edwards comes off to me. I think he is just so polished now. And again, he's not really that old. Like, he's very young. So this is what, year 4 for him, and he's averaging 28 points, like 5-6 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, something like that. That's pretty fucking good for your 4th season. Excuse my language, but holy shit. Anthony Edwards is a problem. Obviously, we're pretty, not too far into the season, so you can say, oh, maybe he cools off. But, it feels like when Jason Tatum broke out, when you saw after that All-Star break in whatever season that was, probably his 4th season. No, it was his 3rd season. But regardless, he was just dropping 30 night after night after night. He went on like a 6-game streak, just absolutely lighting it up. To see something like that out of the start of the season of Anthony Edwards, it's pretty promising, I would say. I just think when you look at his game, he's just so fluid. That's the only way I can explain it. He's quick and shifty, but he's always in control. He's a very good defender when he locks down. He's obviously asked to do a lot on the offensive end, and they have good defenders like Jaden McDaniels. Shout out him. Obviously, Rudy Gobert had Jaylen Brown's nuts on his face last night. That's crazy. But, the weird thing about the Timberwolves team is they have so much, like, already tied down with money. Like, their roster is already, pretty well crafted in terms of what they can do. You're not really going to be able to move a contract like Gobert. It's interesting to see what they're going to do because it really feels like Naz Reid is a better fit than Towns is. I don't know where Towns gets moved. Getting off topic, the point is that Anthony Edwards is a special basketball player. And for him right now, he's showing you the potential that he has. He just showed last night that he has the just take over a game potential. Like giving you these buckets. I mean, he scored 38 points throughout obviously an overtime game, but he was in foul trouble the entire time. You have to understand that most players, when they get into foul trouble, are so thrown off and they don't have a rhythm and they struggle. Like those are the worst games that a lot of players have, is when they're in foul trouble. Ant kept getting subbed out. He'd come back in, bucket, 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 foul, out, comes back in like 8 minutes later, bucket, bucket, bucket. Like, holy shit, dude. This is not normal. This is not normal, especially for someone in their fourth season. And again, everybody was saying that, Anthony Edwards had this potential. I just think he has developed so seamlessly and he's taking the perfect shots, whatever the defense is really giving him. And he is a good 3-point shooter. He's not amazing. Like, he's not Steph Curry, obviously, but he can hit the ones that he needs to. And he just has such confidence as a basketball player. He's not hesitating. The one thing I will say the Celtics threw at him a couple of times that gave him some trouble was the late double. So, like, he's dribbling out the possession, 5 seconds left, Celtics send a double. He's going to have to get better at making that first read. But again, year 4, okay? He has plenty of time to learn how to make that read. That's a superstar read because that's the type of attention a superstar gets. Anthony Edwards is great, but this is when he's going to start attracting that attention. I think this is why I want to make the video now, is because, this is how teams are going to be scouting him. All right, we got to send this double. If he learns how to do that, he's unstoppable. He's unstoppable, and he's in that conversation of, honestly, he's almost a top 10 player. Not right now. Like, he has to show consistently that he can do this because, he was like 23 points per game last year, if I'm not mistaken. So 28's a big jump. We have a lot of guys. It's actually interesting, too. We have a lot of guys that could be in the most improved kind of conversation. I think Tyrese Maxey's up there. I really do think that if Anthony Edwards keeps on pace here, I mean, this is a huge leap. This is like that Ja Morant leap that we saw before, obviously, he got into all those shenanigans. It's just so bizarre to see a player that is so electric with the athleticism, so under control, so fluid, so just tenacious when he wants to be defensively. I mean, the sky is seriously the limit for Anthony Edwards.